In the desert, a deadly threat spreads. Venomous snakes attack the people of Israel. But a singular creation changes everything. The bronze serpent raised by Moses. Miracle, science, or both? Today, we explore this enigmatic story, where faith and chemistry intersect in a surprising way. The Book of Numbers recounts a weary people, wandering through a barren desert, surrounded by unseen dangers. The snakes appeared as a response to murmurs and discontent, but they also symbolized human fragility in the face of uncontrollable forces. Moses, leader and mediator, is instructed to create a bronze serpent and raise it on a pole, offering a path to salvation. This seemingly simple act resonates as a gesture of supreme faith, which simultaneously sparks scientific curiosity. Could the metal have properties that actually help neutralize the venom? The narrative blends elements of miracles and logic, revealing an intersection of belief and intuitive experimentation, suggesting that even in antiquity there were perceptions of the power of minerals. More than a mere object, the bronze serpent becomes a symbol of hope amidst fear. Everyone who looked upon it found a chance of survival. But the question remains, was the cure a divine gift or the result of some pre-scientific knowledge of the antimicrobial effects of copper and bronze? The story presents a paradox. Faith and science coexist intricately, and each interpretation adds layers to understanding this ancient phenomenon. Descriptions from the time emphasize the immediate reaction of the people. They looked, believed, and survived. It is an early example of how the psychology of hope and the placebo effect can manifest in extreme situations. However, the narrative also suggests that it wasn't only belief. The structure of the bronze itself and its interaction with toxins may have played an invisible role, connecting myth to chemistry. This chapter reveals the foundation. The serpent is not just a sacred object, but a convergence point of faith, survival, and science. The emergence of the serpent also teaches about leadership and vision in times of crisis. Moses did not merely obey an order. He became the mediator between the people and a higher force, creating a tangible object of hope. This act of leadership shows how symbols can carry psychological and physical power simultaneously, establishing a model for understanding the impact of sacred objects and materials in human history. Finally, this first encounter with the bronze serpent awakens an eternal question. To what extent were ancient miracles simply manifestations of natural knowledge yet to be understood? The enigma of bronze remains: faith, chemistry, or a combination of both. Each layer of this story adds complexity to the narrative, paving the way for deeper investigation. With the serpent raised, the effects were immediate. Those bitten by the snakes found salvation by looking at it. But more than an isolated miracle, the phenomenon suggests a form of practical observation. The people learned that following precise instructions could save lives. The narrative reflects the power of directed action, showing how faith, when combined with concrete symbols, creates tangible results. Modern studies indicate that metals like copper possess natural antimicrobial properties, capable of interfering with certain types of toxins. Bronze, combining copper and tin, could have had some beneficial effect upon contact with the skin or mucous membranes, though this remains scientific speculation. Even so, the episode illustrates a universal principle: practical knowledge, even transmitted in religious or mythical form, can have real impacts on survival. Historically, the serpent became more than a healing tool. It became a lesson about trust and discipline. The instructions were clear. Looking at the serpent was the way. The simple gesture of raising the eyes toward a symbol becomes a metaphor for following the correct path in the face of danger. Here, science meets narrative. Observing the metal and the physical arrangement of the object suggests that more than faith was at play. This chapter also presents intriguing paradoxes. Why a bronze serpent and not one of another metal? The choice was not random. Copper was valued for its properties and durability. Moreover, the visual impact of the object played a crucial psychological role. Seeing the serpent suspended generated focus, hope, and a sense of immediate action, elements still studied today in survival psychology. Thus, the early examples of healing and faith reveal a dual mechanism. The serpent acted as both a spiritual catalyst and a possible physical instrument of protection. The story suggests that ancient knowledge of materials could have been more sophisticated than imagined, creating a bridge between miracles and science, a mystery that spans millennia. When analyzing the bronze serpent from a scientific perspective, chemistry emerges as a silent protagonist. Bronze, an alloy primarily made of copper, has antimicrobial properties recognized today. Although direct contact with snake venom was not historically studied, it is known that copper can neutralize certain toxins and microorganisms, creating a plausible scenario for beneficial effects. Additionally, the metallic structure conducts heat and may subtly interact with biological surfaces, influencing chemical reactions that could hypothetically reduce the impact of toxins. The biblical narrative and modern science converge in a fascinating point. The serpent is not just a symbol, but also an object that may have internal protective mechanisms. The psychology of the miracle also deserves attention. Faith activates neurotransmitters linked to hope and survival, modulating stress and increasing physical resilience. Thus, looking at the bronze serpent could trigger real physiological responses, amplifying survival chances. The miracle, in this sense, is not only external, but internalized by the human body in response to belief. Contemporary toxicology studies show that rapid action after venom contact is crucial. The bronze serpent functioned as a focal point for immediate action. Looking at it was a gesture involving perception, orientation, and psychological focus. This mechanism, though spiritual, echoes modern principles of accident response and first aid. The chapter concludes with a fascinating dilemma. Is the serpent's miracle divine, chemical, or a combination of both? The analysis reveals hidden patterns. The intuitive knowledge of the ancients, combined with faith, could have produced a real effect, a mystery that challenges the thin line between science and religion. To fully understand the serpent, it is essential to focus on the bronze itself. This metal alloy was valued not only for durability, but also for specific chemical properties. The copper in bronze interacts with microorganisms and can catalyze reactions that neutralize toxins, offering a plausible explanation for the observed effect in the story. Raising the serpent also enhanced its impact. Height, visibility, and shape contributed to its power as a symbol, but also as a structure allowing maximum exposure to air and light, factors that influence toxin degradation. Here, science meets symbolism. Every detail of the object had practical function, even if not fully understood at the time. Bronze, throughout history, proved essential in rituals and medicinal practices, often without clear scientific explanation. This reinforces the idea that ancient civilizations, through empirical experimentation and observation, discovered material effects before modern chemistry existed. The bronze serpent can be seen as an early example of this interaction between material and human life. Dissecting bronze as role raises questions about ancestral knowledge. How many other miracles were actually the result of practical observation of natural effects? The story of the serpent suggests that faith and science are not separate but interconnected, and that the metal itself may be an invisible link between the physical and spiritual worlds. This detailed focus also encouraged contemporary studies, inspiring research on metal alloys and their therapeutic effects. The bronze serpent transcends myth. It becomes an emblematic case of how materials can interact with human biology, challenging the boundaries between miraculous and natural. Today, the story of the bronze serpent remains relevant. Research on copper and metal alloys inspires new approaches in medicine, from antimicrobial surfaces to devices that neutralize toxins. The ancient principle, using materials to protect life, finds a parallel in modern laboratories and hospitals. The serpent's metaphor also endures. Symbols of hope, clear instructions, and immediate action still save lives, especially in crises. Faith, even secularized, continues to influence behavior and physiological responses, demonstrating that ancient mechanisms remain valuable. Modern science also reevaluates historical accounts through new lenses. Experiments suggest that certain metals indeed alter biological microenvironments, partially validating ancient narratives. Thus, the miracles enigma is not solely religious, but scientific as well, continuing to inspire multidisciplinary investigation. Furthermore, the story encouraged reflection on ancestral wisdom. The intuitive knowledge of ancient civilizations, transformed into tangible symbols, shows that the combination of faith, observation, and practice produces lasting effects, connecting past and present in a continuous chain of learning. Finally, the bronze serpent in the contemporary world inspires debates on ethics, science, and spirituality. To what extent can human intervention replicate ancient miracles? The story offers guidance. Symbols and materials, when used with intention, can generate profound impacts that transcend time. Even with scientific advances, the miracle of the bronze serpent retains its mystery. The interaction between faith, psychology, and chemistry challenges full comprehension. What is spiritual, what is physical, and what is a combined effect remains uncertain. The paradox is fascinating. A simple object contains complex lessons about survival, leadership, and intuitive knowledge. Each scientific analysis only increases respect for ancient perception, which knew how to unite observation, material, and hope into a powerful effect. The serpent also questions causality. Was life saved by faith, by chemical action, or by both? The answer may never be definitive, but the pursuit of understanding reveals the richness of human experience when faced with the unknown. The episode reminds us that many human discoveries originate from ancient mysteries. By studying materials, behaviors, and beliefs, science and spirituality meet at a continuous question mark, where every answer raises new questions. In the end, the bronze serpent remains a symbol of human limits, an intersection of what we can understand, what we can test, and what remains a mystery. It invites us to keep exploring, investigating, and marveling at the unknown.